Welcome back to the View from the Ninian, where we're celebrating another win for the mighty Bluebirds, this time over Huddersfield at the CCS. We've swapped out Ben Price for Ryan March. Tom Phillips is back as usual, and I've got a very boring name for the first time this season. Tom, how you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Good, thank you, mate. Ryan, welcome back to the pod. How are you doing?
Yeah, tickety-boo, boys, tickety-boo. I think it's my first post-win appearance of the season, so this is massive. This is massive.
I was going to say, because obviously you came on after Stockport. That was a draw, which felt like a win at the time. But you've been on since then, and it hasn't been a win. So this time you're on, and we're celebrating 3 points and a big 3 points as well. So
a bloody massive set of points.
Probably the biggest 3 points you've won of the season so far. So let's just get into it. Obviously, yesterday at the CCS, Huddersfield, the Terriers, not the Trotters as I've been calling them all weekend. That's my mistake.
And that's why your name is as it is.
Yeah, it is that. I did have Nathan Trotz better than the Trotters, but I have to save that for Bolton. And we might not even beat them. Who can say? Tom, let's start with the Huddersfield game, obviously. 3-2 win. 3-2 kind of flatters them. But the reality is, that's a huge win, isn't it?
Yeah, massive. And I tell you what, watching that game, it's dawned on me. I actually like watching Cardiff City now.
Whoa.
Which is weird,
17 games into the season, you've realised.
I wouldn't let myself enjoy it earlier in the season, but I think I've crossed that line now. Where I sit there, I put it on, and I'm ready to enjoy the game. And that's exactly what happened. Like, we were good to watch. It was a good game of football, and it was a fantastic result at the end of it. And, like, it's not like we went through the game without any adversity. Like, things went against us, but we reacted well. And we just played good football and scored good goals. And I don't know, starting to enjoy it now, which it's making me feel a bit uneasy, to be honest.
Yeah, Ryan, let's talk about the team selection. Obviously, the big question mark was over who would come in the 10 role. And I think BBM has given the people what you want. He put Kellyman right in the 10. That's what the people wanted, isn't it? And it paid off.
Yeah, I would probably go as far as to say Kellyman is our closest profile of player to Ruben Colwill. I don't think anyone is anywhere near Ruben Colwill in terms of what he can bring to a team. But in terms
size.
Of like, yeah. I mean, yeah, in terms of size and ability, I guess Kellyman is probably closest to him. I did like Robinson in the 10 against Mansfield, but I thought we looked better when we changed it. So yeah, I think it was the right thing to do. He's such a funny player, Kellyman. He has moments of absolute genius where you think there's that's the £18 million player, and then other times he has stinkers. And I guess that is just part and parcel of being a young player, isn't it? It's trying to find that consistency and be able to do the things you're very good at all the time. See Ruben Colwill, I guess, as another example. But yeah, I thought it was the right move. And I think what we're seeing now is just showing how good our squad is. And like earlier in the season, there was times where I'd look at the lineup and go, oh, it's one of those lineups today, is it? And now it's a bit like, okay, that's the lineup. Doesn't really matter who's in it. Doesn't really matter, you know. And the subs again change the game. And it's like, I just think BBM is finding this formula where he can set up for a particular team. And we've also got players that can change the game off the bench. And I think that's the best place to be.
Yeah, I mean, friend of the pod, Di Richards, said it quite a few times in the sense that over the first 15 games, we weren't necessarily clicking, Tom. But it feels like yesterday, the last couple of games, really, it feels like it's starting to really click. And I think to Ryan's point, we're seeing the benefits of that rotation because players are coming in and they know their role, don't they? People like Isaak Davies can come off the bench, have an impact. Kellyman slotted in yesterday in the 10 and was brilliant from the start. And as much as we probably were a bit like, oh, why is he tinkering at the start of the season? It's clearly paying off now, isn't it?
Yeah, he's played the long game. I think like it definitely took time to bed in. But like we touched on this last week, it's just everyone who comes into that squad now knows the system, knows how it works. Doesn't matter where you put them, they know exactly what's expected of them. And it's not just going forward, it's defensively as well. You know, BBM mentioned in his press conference that Salech could probably do more defensively, but he did better in that game. And he did. He pressed and he sets the tone from right at the top. And then Kellyman was like, I don't know, what we had something like 11 interceptions we had in the game, and it felt like all of them were him in about a 10-minute period in that first half.
He put in most tackles on the pitch, I think. It was like 4 tackles in the game, which is mad for a attacking midfielder.
But it felt like it. He was nicking the ball, he was reading passes, and he was instantly pushing again, and we were getting forward. And it just shows that we're getting things out of players you wouldn't necessarily expect. Like these attacking players are defending from the front and stuff now, and they're buying into the system. And I think that's why I'm going into every game now, well, like Ryan said, like there was kind of lineups beginning of the season. You kind of going, I don't know what he's trying there, but it doesn't feel like that anymore. You know exactly who's, no matter who's on that pitch at the start of the game, you know exactly what's going to come from that squad, and it's working out absolutely lovely at the moment.
And right, we scored early, but even before that, we were bright from the first minute, weren't we? We went close a couple of times. There was the Huddersfield defender who headed it over from a great cross that was almost an own goal. I think it was Salech put one into the side netting early on. It just felt like in those opening exchanges, we just started really quickly.
Yeah, well, it seemed like we started really quickly, but I was sat in a Ninian stand on the far end of the Canton, and the sun was so bright coming over the stadium, I had no idea what was going on that side of the ground. So, yeah, by the looks of it, there was a lot of football in that ground, but I couldn't tell you much of what was going on because the sun was absolutely killing me. Keir Starmer's weather machine was absolutely hammering us. But yeah, I think we started on the front foot. We started as we mean to go on, and it paid off fairly quickly, and we got that goal. And yeah, I think it just showed that we have this ability to just strangle teams now, and we were doing it from the off.
Yeah, I mean, I watched the goal back a few times this morning because I just think it's a goal that last season, 2 seasons, 3 seasons ago, even going back to probably Dave Jones' era, I don't think we'd ever score a goal like that before, Tom. I watched it back. Obviously, the ball comes in from a throw at 4 minutes 20. We win a free kick from it. And from there, it feels like every player on the pitch touches the ball. I actually wrote down, I'll read it to you, and then we can talk about the goal. This goes,
could be your trial for Cardiff City TV.
Could be NG, Bacon. I'm not going to do it justice, but he went NG, Bacon, Turnbull, Lawler, Fish, NG, Fish, Lawler, Turnbull, Bacon, Wintle, Turnbull, Bacon, Willock, Lawler, Fish, Trot, Fish, Kellyman, Willock, Bacon, goal. And it kind of went back to front. It went left to right. It went back to the keeper, went forward again. There were some lovely passes. And then it found the space for Kellyman, Tom, where he was just able to open up, cut it over 10 yards and find the wings. And it was just like, I can't remember in recent years us ever scoring a goal like that was so patient. It was so well made in the sense we recycled the ball. We didn't panic when we had the ball. The defenders kind of started it. Trot drew the press and it opened up the space. It was just impressive, wasn't it, Tom?
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's definitely our best goal this season. I think it's definitely the most satisfying goal we've scored this season. And the thing is, it feels like we've got more of them in our locker as well. That's why it's exciting. That's why it's good to watch at the moment. Like that's early in the game, and we're clicking. The passes are flying straight away. And like when that goal was scored, I didn't even cheer. I just said "class" to myself. I was just like, "Class,
come on!"
It was like, "Yeah, lovely." But it's like it's kind of expected now from us. But I don't know. It was just brilliant. And just seeing every single player pretty much on the field link up like that, and just. I don't know. Sometimes you score those goals when you put 25 passes together and there's a little bit of a mistouch or, it's bobbled somewhere. It's just everything had purpose to it. Everything went where it was meant to go. And I don't know, if we carry on playing football like that this season, there's not many a team who are going to get anywhere near us, never mind beat us. It was fantastic to watch.
And Ryan, obviously, the move up until the end was fantastic. But then even the little interplay between Willock and Bacon, and Bacon gets the ball right on the touchline. He could have just gone right and whipping this across as I can, this cross as hard as I can across, but he locks it perfectly to Salech. And Salech's there at the back post, and I think Salech had kind of gone in, pulled out then, and he was in the perfect position to head it home. Even that kind of the end, the touches, and the kind of control on the ball was just perfect, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I love Joel Bacon. I think he's just becoming. I think he got hard done by a bit over the last few years, and I just think he's just this consistency, and he offers so much defensively going forward. I just think he's so. I dare I say it, underrated by people, and I think having consistent fullbacks is the sign of a really good team. And I think having him on the left, and then you've got MG and Capacchio, who both offer different things on the right. It's just right, where you're at with your fullbacks and the type of football you're playing. And Joel Bacon is that one consistent. So, and the overlap, he absolutely busted gut to get there. And then, I spoke about Salech one of the last times I was on, how nice it must be to just have a striker who plays in the middle of the penalty box, and you can just put anything in there. And Bacon knew as soon as he got that ball, he didn't have to think, oh, who's. What's the best ball to put across? Do I try and fizz it across? He just goes, I'm just going to hang it up. See also Kean Ashford in the second half for the second goal. And it's just they just know, and it's beautiful. It's like all you got to do, hang it up in that area, and Salech will attack it, and he did, and he scored, and then he almost did it again a few minutes later from almost the exact same move, and I think that's so good. If you look at like the best Man City teams, they used to score all the same goal all the time. Get to the byline, cut it back, get to the byline, cut it back. And if we're getting to the byline and hanging it up for Salech to attack, then no wonder he's going to probably win the Golden Boot. He's already top goal scorer in the league now, isn't he? So, it was a beautiful, beautiful goal, and it was just a joy to watch.
Yeah, and Tom, it kind of set the tone, didn't it, for that first half, in the sense that we were obviously the better team. I think from that goal, we kind of maybe didn't make the pressure count so much in that first half, but we kept the pressure up. We kept playing football. We kept looking for chances. And as much Huddersfield had a couple of moments, but they couldn't really cope with us in the first half, could they?
Not really. They had that chance from that just went wide, the volley, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I thought they'd scored, I must admit, when it came off his foot. He arguably could have done a little bit better with it. But outside of that, we should have scored a couple, like maybe 3 or 4, to be honest with you. I thought we were brilliant. I thought, like people like Turnbull, I thought he was brilliant first half. I think he completely lost his influence after half time. But I thought his composure on the ball in the middle of the park as well. And like I know Ben Price said about him just passing sideways and backwards, it felt like he was passing forward with intent in that game. Wintle, fantastic first and second half as well.
Wow, he's been so good.
Yeah, like the last couple of months, he's been instrumental to everything good that's come from us, really, and he's really cemented his place in that team. But yeah, first half, I thought we were brilliant. Willock was good first half, but again dropped off after half time. But that first half of football was, I thought it was probably one of the most complete halves of football we've had this season. I thought we were defensively solid and brilliant at keeping the ball in the middle of the park. There was nothing sloppy about us at all. It was an absolute joy to watch.
Yeah, and Ryan, I think it kind of, you could see it that Huddersfield were struggling to cope with us, because there were a few late challenges. They were kind of going into Kellyman quite a lot. He went down a few times with his ankle. There were a couple of I think Willock was taken off potentially off the ball with he took a knock to the head. Kellyman in particular taking a bit of a beating. Not necessarily a bad thing, is it? Because he hasn't played much football. They've talked about managing his time and his moments, but coming through a game like that unscathed, when he's been caught late a few times, got involved in some tackles, will probably do him the world of good in getting used to playing at League One level.
Yeah, 100%. You got to toughen players like that up, haven't you? And then also, I think it's testament to how much ball he was getting, how much influence he had on the game, how much of a threat he was, that they were sort of feeling the need to get stuck into him. But he was getting stuck in back. That the intensity in his press and stuff. He was like, he wasn't shying out of getting stuck into people as well. So hopefully now, he's starting to have a run of games, some good, some bad. I mean, that game in midweek, I think, lest we mention the game in midweek, and he was probably not the brightest spark, considering he was one of the more senior players in that team. But yeah, I think when he's good, he's a pleasure to watch. I think back to that Wrexham game and how good he was there, and I think that if we can keep playing him and keep getting good minutes out of him, he's gonna have a huge impact in the second half of the season.
Yeah, and Tom, we'll talk about the second half now and all the goals that came with that, but as much as we could say it was a good performance and we did play really well, it was a shame that we only went in half-time 1-0, wasn't it? Because it felt like we had a lot of the pressure. We had chances. We made a lot with the ball, but it just didn't click for that second goal until the second half. And against a better team, maybe we'd be punished for that? Possibly,
but are there many better teams in that league? I think that's the thing now, right? Like, there'll be a couple, but like, that is going to be one of our tougher tests at home. Yeah, I think it was crying out for a second goal. We didn't need to go in 3 or 4-0 up or anything like that. But you go 2-0 up in that fixture when you're dominated by as much as we were, then it feels a little bit more plain sailing. It was a pity, but to be honest, I was just so happy with the performance. I think the fact that we had a lead at all going into halftime. There's been plenty of performances over the years where we've played like that and gone 1-0 down. So I'm more than happy taking a 1-goal lead into halftime at the moment, because I kind of trust this team that even if you have some setbacks in the second half, we'll bounce back from it. So a 1-0 lead going into halftime, not ideal, but yeah, definitely take it.
Yeah, Ryan, and the setback didn't take long to come, did it? Sort of 5 minutes into the second half, Huddersfield get their goal. I mentioned him on the pod last time, Castledine, the player I know from Chelsea at Huddersfield, probably their danger man most of the game. He had a couple of good moments from free kicks, and as much as it was a great strike, it's unfortunate, isn't it, that it goes through a crowd and does nick off Kellyman. I don't know if Trott's getting there. He's going that way. It's impossible to say whether he gets there, but obviously the Kellyman nick just kind of does all the work for him.
Yeah, Chelsea boys linking up, isn't it? It was one of them goals. It sort of hit us a bit like a sucker punch, but like, it's from a corner on the edge of the box. We've conceded quite a few similar goals to this now. I mean, it almost looks. He does catch it absolutely superbly. Like it pings off his boot, and it's got a lovely bit of pace in it. So, yeah, I don't know. I think in a similar vein to the Mansfield game, we started really strongly in that first half. Probably didn't score as much as we should have, and then come out in the second half and the opposition have had a go at us. The difference in the Mansfield game is they didn't score, but I think in the same way as the Mansfield game is we were able to then make changes and turn the screw again. So yeah, but I think from that goal perspective, it's a bit like the Don Ballard one. It's like, okay, it's a bit of a wonder goal. I think there was another one earlier in the season that I was on afterwards. Can't remember. I think it might have been Bradford. Again, I mentioned this on my last pod.
Yeah, it was a Bradford goal.
Yeah, it's like, oh, great. It's a good goal and it's a good strike, but probably shouldn't have had the run of it in that area. That is one of the places we're a little bit susceptible, aren't we? But you still got to rely on someone striking it really well, and I guess professional footballers can actually strike the ball quite well. So, don't give them too much space.
That's what I've heard anyway. They strike the ball really well. Tom, and I mentioned it with the goal we scored, but also when you look back to last season, that sort of goal would have made our heads drop, would have made the kind of crowd get uneasy. But I think it didn't phase us, did it? I think we just, as Ryan said, there were changes that were made, players came in and out of the team, but they scored the goal, but we just carried on as if it was normal, didn't we?
I think that was the best thing about it. We didn't drop our heads at all, and we just went, okay, normal service. We'll take back over again. I think a little bit of it was Huddersfield kind of stepping back. I think they could have put their foot down a little bit and tried to get at us a little bit more when they equalised. But we just took control of the game again. It's a pity sometimes that it takes a shock to the system for us to kind of do that in the second half. But, like years gone by, we wouldn't have had a team who reacted at all. So it was interesting watching the game, and even at 1-1, I didn't doubt that we'd go back ahead. I don't know how you felt, Ryan, in the stadium and how it felt like around you when that goal went in. Did heads drop in the crowd, or do you reckon there was like a sense of inevitability that we'd be fine in this one?
I actually said to the boys, I was like, we'll make changes on the hour and we'll kick on and score again.
That's the difference, isn't it?
And we literally did that. And it's like, I just have this faith now in this team, and it's like, okay, we'll ride this out. Yeah, it's gone 1-1. Let's make sure we don't concede a second, but we didn't. And this team has pretty good game management, and again, we showed that. And yeah, but people in the ground heads didn't drop. There wasn't any sort of bloody start lumping it forward, sort of all this stuff. It was none of that. And we all were proved right, I guess.
Yeah, Ryan, no subs at 60 minutes. Obviously, Robertson came on for Turnbull, Colwell came on for Kellyman, Isaak Davies for Chris Willock, and within 2 minutes we scored the goal. But as a three to bring on, Alex Robertson, Joel Colwell, Isaak Davies, it's not a bad three, is it?
It's ridiculous, isn't it? And I was a bit annoyed that he didn't bring on Capaccio as well, because I just love watching Capaccio. And he obviously brought him on a bit later when the game was a bit more dead and buried. I hope saving him for Tuesday. It just shows our strength and depth. And like I said, I'd have been happy to see any of those three players start, and then any of the three players who started come off the bench, and it's just, and that'll be the case later in the season. We've brought Turnbull off the bench. We've brought Kellyman off the bench. These are Willock off the bench, and other players have started. And BBM's getting it right. He knows the players now. He knows when people need to come in and out, and it's just absolutely bliss knowing that the manager has got control of this game, and the manager knows what subs he wants to make and when he wants to make them and manage the game, because we've not had that, especially last season, with a certain Omar Reza. Remember him?
I wasn't going to mention him, Tom, but I was going to say
you're a liar. You're a liar.
He loves Omariza.
I wasn't going to mention him. But like last season, we'd go into games going, "What the fuck has Omariza done here?" I remember the Preston away game where he managed to throw about 4 centre halves on, and none of them knew where they were playing. It was utterly baffling. Now we have a manager, and it's the way it should be. I do like the idea of like managers managing on vibes and just putting a big man up top and figuring it out. Like that, there's still a place for that sometimes. But BBM knows every little detail, doesn't he? And to those substitutions, he'd have known exactly what he wants from those players, when they would have had the best impact. And he executes it perfectly. It's so refreshing, Tom, to have a manager who knows what he's doing.
Nah, boring, innit? That's what your name actually means on the screen.
Yeah. Exactly.
You're already
BBM's
bored
boring.
of this.
Yeah.
Bored of this competent football. No, it is mad. Like how, like a little bit frustrated is how if we had a manager like this before, perhaps we wouldn't be in this predicament. But it's fun being in League One, and it's fun finding a manager like this who's making us play football like we are. And yeah, I'm just excited going into every game now. I'm not sat there going, "Oh God, we've got 3 games in 8 days. I have to watch this dross," because that's what it got to last season.
Yeah.
It was like, Christ, we've got another game that we're going to get pumped in. Like, you can't forget, like we lost like 7-0 in games last year. We were absolutely dreadful. And this year now, like we're more likely to put 7 past someone. And like we're starting to get more clinical. And like Salech is a prime example of that in this game. Like that competent football, this game plan that BBM's put forward, people are now kind of benefiting from. Like Salech's a player who got 10 goals last season in a fucking shocking season of football. So now he's starting to warm up. Like there was only 2, I think Dav Pritchard mentioned this in the press conference. Like only 2 people across the EFL scored 20 goals last year. And if there's only 2 they're going to score 20 this season, it's going to be Salech's going to be one of them.
Yeah. Well, he's top scorer now. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but he's top scorer with 9 in the league, and we're only on 17 games, so we're not even halfway through the season. He's already on that path. Let's talk about what goal was it next? It was the Salech goal next, Ryan. Ryan Wintle, we've already mentioned him. He not only did he do the dog work in the middle of the park, there were times where he was tracking back, getting in front of players, trying to win the ball. He also had 2 key passes for the 2 goals that we're going to talk about now. That first pass, he finds the gap that I don't think many players would have found in that situation, because a lot of players would have gone around the line, made Ashford go a bit wider, but he finds the gap between the 2 defenders and puts a perfect ball through to Ashford. Ashford's able to ride the tackle and put a great cross in, but it's the pass from Wintle that makes the goal, isn't it?
Yeah, it's everything, isn't it? It cuts it wide open, and as a man when playing 5-a-side tends to sit back and starts the move. It's nice to see the assist for the assist getting a bit of praise, because
pre-assist, I believe they call it.
The pre-assist, is that what they call it now these days?
Yeah.
Back in my day, it was the assist for the assist, actually. No, it was
You're younger than me.
It was a thing of beauty. It was a thing of beauty. And I just love seeing passes like that. And it comes off, and Ashford read it perfectly. It was a little bit of it wasn't a similar pass, but it was a similar space for Ashford's goal against Mansfield as well, just between the centre half and the fullback.
Yeah.
Just where neither of them can quite reach it. Both of them go for it. It pulls them all out. I love passes like that, and I want to watch them all the time. If anyone's got a YouTube compilation of those passes, please send them to me, because I will watch it.
There is a TikTok account. I can't remember. I sent it to you, Ryan. It just shows these wonderful passes, shots set to White Flag by Dido.
Oh yeah,
and it's
nice.
They're so cinematic.
Yeah. Beautiful.
And Tom, obviously, we talked about Ashford in recent weeks. I think we're having a bit of a something. There's a Renaissance. There you go, Renaissance, like a Renaissance, but for Kian Ashford. Get it? And he did really well in that situation, didn't he? Obviously, he rode the tackle. It was quite a heavy tackle by the Huddersfield defender. He could have easily tried to go down. He could have easily jumped over it and fallen, but he didn't. He just kept calm, and he lofted a great pass over to Salech. Ashford, I think, had 3 shots on target in that game. He created the most chances in the game. It's nice to see it again, just him kind of adding more production to the good performances, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought he had a fantastic game. I think he showed great composure for that goal. I think the only frustrating thing sometimes is it feels like nearly every single shot and goal he has just goes straight at the keeper. But like, I don't mind it at the same time. He gets himself into some really, really good positions. Like he cuts both ways. He keeps defenders guessing.
Yeah.
But then he's got the pace to get on to passes like that. And the cross into Salech for the goal was fantastic. Like he couldn't miss from there. Like it's gone behind Joe Lowe, who had one of the worst games of football I've seen for a defender since probably Duffy.
I like Joe Lowe as well. I thought he'd be a good Welsh centre half, but sorry, Dylan Lawler's here now, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he'll stay on 2 caps because he ain't getting with performances like that. That even got mentioned on the comms, like by Connor Pierce, which I thought was quite funny.
It's a shame because he's got a great name for songs.
True.
Yeah. You mean like Chance? Whenever I just think of Jolo. A bit of Red Hot Chili Peppers there. Every time I hear him.
That is not catching
Not
on.
going to take off.
No?
Not going to take off. I saw some. I was going to mention Jolo because I think when you look at, I took a screenshot of when Salech makes that header and Jolo is somehow facing the wrong way completely, and he's obviously he's been beaten all ends up. He doesn't know where the ball is. He just thinks I've got to try and get, and he completely misjudges it. But I saw somebody on a Huddersfield fan on Twitter. I just saw it in passing, basically saying, "What is the point of Jolo?" And it did make me question because obviously Ryan, from a Wales point of view, last year was he at Wickham? Then he was linked with Swansea and kind of like a big money move. I think he was even mentioned as someone we were looking at. He moved, I think, on a free in the summer to Huddersfield. And I thought, interesting move because if you're linked with a championship, surely you go to a championship club. And it just feels like he's a symptom of that Huddersfield team at the moment in the sense that they've spent a lot of money. They've not started in the way they should. And he's really suffering for it.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised Lee Grant's still in the job because I think they had quite high expectations, didn't they?
Spent a fair bit of money,
and a lot of people.
Alfie May,
but yeah, I mean, like I liked what I saw of him. He's massive. In those Wales games that he did play, I think one of them was that Gibraltar friendly, so you can't really judge it. I have a feeling the other cap might have been in the Gibraltar away game and got a clean sheet in that one.
Mm-hmm.
So well done, Joe. But yeah, I always thought there was something about him as a player, but he hasn't quite kicked on. He's probably 24 now, maybe 23. Yeah. So I think we're sort of a little bit stacked at centre back all of a sudden, especially with Lawler's emergence. And Lawler was still the best centre back on that pitch yesterday, especially best Welsh centre back on that pitch. So sorry, Mr. Lowe.
Yeah, he must be kicking himself really that he's that kind of. A few years ago, he'd have been the successor to the people like Ben Davies' throne as a young player. But now at 23, he's already been overtaken by Lawler, who's only 19. He must be kicking himself for being so old. And then the Isaak Davies goal, Tom. I keep getting the goals confused. Obviously, Wintle again with the pass. An absolutely fantastic raking ball by Wintle. But I think the best thing about it for me is Yousef's most nonchalant, impetuous flick of the head.
Deft, I called it in the ground.
It was a deft touch. But like the control to be able, he's sort of running one way, just flicks his head back and lands it straight into Isaak Davies' path. I don't think I've seen a player do a flick like that ever, Tom.
No, it's lovely. To have the vision to do that and then to pull it off as well. Because that has come in from some distance. That's got some pace on it. So to take the power off it, flick it behind and just into the path of Isaak Davies. And then obviously he's still got a lot to do. Some finish as well. But the fact that the assist is the best bit about that shows how impressive that assist is. Because it's some finish from Isaak Davies, the way he cuts in and curls it. It was a quality goal. And he was so happy at the end of it as well. That goal clearly meant a lot for him. I think we've had players with injuries and stuff like that, and the way that BBM sets up this squad with people coming in and out, it must be a relief when you get a bit of game time and actually put a performance in as well. Because it's hard, it's hard to get a run in this team, but it'd be hard to keep Isaak Davies out of this team if he keeps doing stuff like that. And that's the link-up play you want from Salech, right? He's offered so much in the box as well. But to take the pressure off so we can put the ball long, for him to put that little flick on. And when you've got players like Ashford and Davis and Willock and Kellyman and Colwell when he's playing, we've got such assets going forward. Then if he's adding that to his game as well, then we're in the business.
Yeah, Ryan. Isaak Davies' strike, obviously, as Tom said there, he took it past the defender. It's kind of what you want Isaak Davies to do, right? You want him to set the defender, send him the other way, and just open up and rip it first time. And boy, did he rip it! Keeper had no hope, did he?
No, it was so lovely to watch. It was so nice. I mean, everything about the goal was just perfect. The pass, the header, the finish, and I'm chuffed for Isaak Davies because. He's been the forgotten man a little bit, isn't he? Because he burst onto the scene, and I had such high hopes for him, and he had that terrible injury, and then he had the loan and all this stuff, and I
had Steve Morrison.
And I just think that he's such a talented player and such a fun player to watch when he's on his on his best form, and hopefully now this season it still hasn't quite happened for him this season. Hasn't had that run in the team like Tom said, and. Hopefully it'll come, but he's just he's a pleasure to watch, and I really hope it works out for him. And I watched his post-match interview, and he said even then that's the move we practice on the training ground. I was like, what?
Yeah.
like
the foresight of BBM.
Yeah, it's like unbelievable, and sort of to go slightly off topic as well. Perry and G also said how much he's enjoying playing for BBM, and it's so nice when players are coming out afterwards and saying how fun it is to be at the club, how fun it is to work with the manager, because you weren't getting anyone talking about Omariza like that, or anyone else who's been our manager for the last 10 years or whatever it's bloody been. So, and it's so nice, especially someone like Perry and G and someone like Isaak Davies to come out and be so excited about it, because someone like Perry and G has every right to have thrown his toys out the pram, really, because he hasn't played particularly as much football as a player of his standard should have. Isaak Davies has had a frustrating run in and out of the team. They're sort of squad players for us, these pair, and they're both, talking very highly of everything that's going on, and I think that's a sign of a very good, strong, exciting squad. And what a goal. I've watched it at least 3 times, and I will watch it a lot more.
Well, Tom, there's a little bit of not a mea culpa, but I think over the last couple of seasons, we've looked at people like, well, particularly last season, people like NG, people like Wintle, people like Callum Robinson to an extent, who were, maybe we questioned their attitude a little bit over what was going on at the club, and we suggested that they could have been at the centre of being bad eggs and all that kind of stuff. But maybe it was just Omariza was a prick. Errol Bullitt was a prick. And now they've got a nice manager who's doing nice things. They're just, they're being happy again. And I think that's the difference, isn't it, Tom? Like, footballers are, if you're unhappy at work, sometimes you have a bad attitude at work. And they're just the same as us, aren't they?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, we were kind of pointing out what we thought were like multiple bad eggs, but it was just one stinking egg in Omariza that was like absolutely stinking up the gaff, wasn't it?
And when egg stinks, it don't off stink, does it?
Yeah, and that season did stink. But like, you're bang on. Like, we've said it before, it's like if you're unhappy at work, you're not going to perform well, and it just shows, right? Like you said, like Perry and G we definitely pinned him down as someone, if he's not playing football, he doesn't want to be there. And it's turned out as bollocks. He just wants someone who knows what they're doing. And like, if he's been left out of the team, he wants to know why. And that's completely fair enough. And every time he stepped, every time he stepped in the last couple of months, he's played really, really well. Like, he was absolutely solid in that game. And very solid, I think like our players are more than happy to come in and come out and, keep rotating if we keep winning games. Because there's very few players in that squad who are getting like no minutes at all now. Like, even Robertson, where again we would probably question his attitude, and there probably is a question on his attitude still. Like, even he's getting game time now, and he looks like he's enjoying his football. And he looked very, very assured when he came on as well. And I think that's why it's just exciting, right? Because there doesn't seem to be any unhappy players in that squad at the moment. And like, you've got like Ruben Colwill, who's out of the squad for a long time now. He's putting stuff on Instagram about the result and has the most wholesome Instagram account I think I've seen of a football player. Just him taking photos on walks and eating chips with his brother. I'm like, you're not a professional footballer, really. Sorry, I've gone on a big tangent here.
Well, I was looking at, he posted a photo of him. He posted like a dump, I believe they call it on their Instagram feed.
We wasn't posting an actual dump.
The first photo was of him after his operation, I think, in the bed. And Yousef Salech's comment was, "That wasn't on my bingo card." And I was just like, there's clearly like such a good vibe amongst the camp at the moment that hasn't been there before. And I think, even if you aren't playing, I mean, Jack Alnwick, present company excluded, it seems like the players who are playing bit parts coming in out of the squad are still just happy to be there. And I think it's probably the bigger picture is they're going to be part of kind of, if this season carries on in this way, they're going to be part of putting Cardiff City back where we should be in the Championship. And that's like a really good thing. And I think they're starting to see that as a team. And yeah, I think Alex Robertson came on. We haven't even mentioned. There's players we haven't even mentioned today, Brian, who put in good performances yesterday, like Fish, Lawler. They've barely been mentioned. They were both solid at the back. You saw Robertson come on. So it's just like, we're now in a position, Ryan, where we're talking about good performances almost weekly, that it's hard. Last season when we played well, it was like, who played well, because it was so rare. This week, it's like, this season, it's like, well, they're all playing well. So it's very hard to pick out who your man of the match is.
Yeah, to quote a classic cliche is, we're running out of superlatives to describe this team. And we really are. Like, the boys at the back.
What more can you say?
Second goal was almost a bit of a calamity of errors, but I think it was just a fluke the way it, I think it was Lawler did well to intercept it, but he plays it straight into the back of Fish, I
Robertson,
think.
yeah.
Or it was
No,
Robertson.
it's
wasn't it?
Robertson's on top.
Robertson
Fish
played it.
Fish is fighting in the net afterwards.
Yeah. Oh, of
Classic-
course.
classic
it is.
Fish, really.
Yeah, like a Pascot out of water, baby. No, like it's just solid from front to back, and everyone plays the part. And I think basically that the biggest compliment is the system works, and the players know the system, and that all comes down to the management. And yeah, dare I say it? Enjoy it while it lasts, because this team could be picked apart. This manager could be picked apart. I don't want to be that guy right now, but you know, if you look at our last 10 managers, I don't know how far back 10 managers takes us these days. It's probably not that far. Probably like if
I'll
you
have a
go
look.
back,
You carry on talking. I'll have a look.
if you go back to Dave Jones, even like what are any of these managers doing now? Barely any of them are still in work. You know, Neil Harris is one of the only ones managing in the Football League. And not to compare us to Swansea, but you look at Swansea's managers where they are. Roberto Martinez, Portugal manager. Brendan Rodgers obviously just left Celtic, managing the Premier League for a long time. Graham Potter managing the Premier League, now Sweden manager. We don't have managers that get poached. We don't have managers that go on and manage elsewhere, really, because they're bad managers. And unfortunately, where we are in the pecking order and the food chain of football, it does mean that we are going to be preyed on, and rumours about Lawler and Capaccio have been swirling this week already from big clubs, and it's just the nature of the beast, and that only means we're doing something right, and I think that, you know, Brian Barry Murphy, the way he plays and the way football's going, he will be poached by a larger club at some point. But I guess it's a shame, but like it just means that everything's great, and let's just enjoy this, because seasons like this don't come around often. You know, I was saying to the boys yesterday, I was just like, how fucking brilliant it is that, you know, all I've ever dreamed of, all I used to rattle on this pod about, is having young Welsh players have the opportunity to play for Cardiff City and represent Cardiff City. And here we are, and they're all fucking brilliant, and they're a pleasure to watch, you know, week in, week out. And it's just so fun again. And we just got to make sure that not to bring them back in and not to be too negative, that the board and the way the club is run, they don't just go, all right, as soon as BBM, you know, he could be poached in the summer, he could be poached in 3 years or whatever. They know that when that time comes, because it's going to come, we've got, you know, it's football, this is how it works, that they are ready to make the right decision to replace him, rather than just going, oh shit, let's give Darren Pearce the job again. You know, so yeah, I that's a long way of saying, you asked me questions about how good all our players have been, and I managed to turn it into that. But here we are. Who cares?
I'm about to turn it
Cardiff
into
are great at the moment. Drink it in.
If we're looking at 10 permanent managers, it takes us back to Paul Trollope.
Good times.
Looking at 10 managers, including caretakers, it takes us back to Neil Harris. But that does include Dean Whitehead, 2 games. Aaron Ramsey, 3 games.
Yeah.
And if you look back at all those names, so even if you go back to Dave Jones, not in football ananymore. Malky Mackay
didn't really do anything bigger than us when he left, did he?
Sheffield Wednesday, arguably, he kind of got them back up, and that was the next thing he did. Malky Mackay, I think, involved at Hibs now as like technical director. Kerslake, no idea. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer managing Besiktas.
He did manage Man United, but that was a fluke.
He did manage Man United. Gabardon and Scott Young.
He's sacked by Besiktas, he was in the summer.
He was sacked by Besiktas. There we go. Russell Slade lives in Penarth.
Scott Young in charge of the commercial arm of Nathaniel Cars. So.
Big move.
Some better things.
Paul Trollope's coaching somewhere. Neil Harris, Cambridge. McCarthy doing podcasts. Steve Morrison, who cares? Mark Hudson's a coach somewhere. Dean Whitehead, probably still scared somewhere. Sabri Lamucci, I think, is in Qatar. Bullet is back in Turkey, I believe, or Greece. Yeah. He's got a job somewhere. Omar Rees is on LinkedIn. Aaron Ramsey without a club. Brian Barry Murphy. They're the managers. Yeah.
Mad, isn't it? Whereas if you look at a lot of other clubs and their last 10 managers, you could be like where they all are. And Swansea, unfortunately, are one of them, aren't they?
Bastards.
But they could go down. I'm good enough for them.
Well, they beat Oxford yesterday, so that, you know, that'll give them some false hope for a few weeks. Your man of the match for yesterday, Tom?
Wintle.
Your man of the match, Ryan March?
Probably Joel Bagan. Shout out Salech. You can't score 2 goals and get an assist really and not be in the conversation, can you? So too
obvious though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Weirdly, like Bagan has become too obvious now. Yeah. Like you mentioned him earlier on, like being underrated. We've skipped that bit. He's just
Yeah.
everyone thinks he's class. Because
I think Ryan Wintle was underrated again yesterday.
Yeah, that's true.
Bringing it
But
back.
yeah.
Go on, Ryan. Go on, Tom. Sorry. Before
I was just saying,
say
like
my bit.
Bagan, I wrote him off probably like a season and a half, 2 seasons ago. Well, I just thought he wasn't good enough. But I think it was just a symptom of the club being the basket case it was and still
100%.
is.
Yeah.
But like he's just been absolutely fantastic this season. And like there's a few people who still aren't convinced by him, but that number is shrinking week on week.
I was looking on Transfer Market. You could sponsor us if you want. A bit of a trivia question: who has played the most minutes for us this season, Ryan?
Oh, it's got to be Joel, isn't it? Bagan, of
Tom?
course.
Most minutes. Wow. I thought you'd fall into that trap, Tom. Nathan Trott hasn't because he didn't play in the first game of the season.
Yeah, I was like, is there someone played every
he's
game?
Second. Joel Bagan has played 1,908 minutes so far this
Fair
season.
Great minutes.
I think he's been in the squad 23 times. What did you say, Ryan? Sorry, I missed that bit.
I just said great minutes.
Great minutes. He's been in the squad 23 times, and out of those 23 games, he's played them all, basically. The top 10 for minutes is Bagan, Trott, Colwell, Ruben, Will Fish, Yousef Salech, Ryan Wintle, Ashford, Lawler, Capaccio. So when you look at that, Wintle, Colwell, Bagan, Trott are the only players sort of 23 and above. Everyone else is 22 and below it. Obviously, Capaccio down in 10th, playing 21 times in the squad of 21 appearances. So it's just great to see all those young players in there, isn't it, Ryan?
It really is. That lines up quite nicely. I saved this tweet yesterday that is it Savigma? Is that how you'd say it?
Savigma, friend of the pod.
Saying, trying to think of Mate playing on the wing in this system, Siopis in midfield, Collins at left back, and then others like Reno, El Ghazi, Darland, Kanga, and Etete. And I cringe. No wonder we got relegated, honestly. And how long ago? Mate, I forgot that bloke existed. Like when you listen to those players, it's just like, oh my God, no wonder we were bloody crap for so long. And it's just like, it was under our noses all along. And it's so nice to see. And I just cannot speak highly enough of it.
The funny thing about that was when I started reading that tweet, I thought it was a positive about those players at the time and how they were like kind of like misrepresented. And I was like, oh no, I've got the vibe of this wrong. No, it turns out, he means they're shite. I was like, yeah, I get it now. My bad.
But as an aside to that, do you think any of the players we had in the, obviously people like Chambers, Fish are still around, but any of the players that are left in the summer are the only ones that are left I can think really? Callum O'Dowda might play in this system.
Yeah,
like, nobody else I feel like has the ability.
Bagan out, wouldn't he? But he would have probably played on the wing, and I think the one place we really lack is wingers. And Keane Ashford had a great game. Willock's had good moments, but I think that real out and out sort of like top winger is the last piece of this puzzle. So I think maybe it is O'Dowda. But like I haven't thought of Dimi Gutas for probably 6 months now, and that's okay. Because
handsome king mind.
Yeah, lovely looking boy. But yeah, it's just like it's a million miles away from what it was, and I don't miss anyone who left, and that's a good sign. It's a shame that Jamalu Collins isn't keeping Joe Bagan out of the team, isn't it?
Yeah, I do miss Gutas. I like Gutas a lot. Tom, anyone you miss?
No, not particularly. I think like it sums up right. Like there's a connection between the fans and this squad, and that's something we've missed for seasons now. Like it doesn't feel like we've got mercenaries anymore because we've got young like Welsh talent coming through, and it doesn't necessarily need to be Welsh talent, but it just does help.
Irish talent.
Yeah, exactly. So like it's just great. Just great to have like a likable team because like even when results go against you, you're not as fed up. No.
Exactly that. Right, we spent 45 minutes talking about the Huddersfield game. Let's go over to Twitter to get more reaction on the Huddersfield game from our tweeters. Twitter.com/VFT Ninian. Thomas Taylor, fair play to Davis, Robertson and Joel. Gave the midfield a massive boost when they came on. Salech, fantastic again. Playing football the Murphy way. Bluebird John, super result yesterday. Always in control against a decent team. Sven Carr, great win. Huge game Tuesday now. Win that and we're looking good. Lovely to see Salech bag a few. Food time for the pod. Rank the chocolates you get in celebrations.
Ooh, trying to think of what they are. I would go heroes over celebrations every day of the week. IMO.
Well, you're wrong.
Am I?
You're wrong. Yeah, heroes are crap, mate.
You're crap. Maltesers number one.
Pod. Get off my pod.
Maltesers number one, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Bring back the truffle. Justice for the truffle.
Justice for the truffle.
Bounty is bottom, isn't it?
Yes,
Bounty's
correct.
top 3.
Yeah, you're wrong.
I knew you'd like Bounty, Ben.
Yeah, of course you do.
Bloke, aren't you?
That's it.
Yeah.
Pathetic. Wait, the chocolates you get: Malteser's Teaser, Mars, Milky Way, Snickers, Galaxy Caramel, Twix Bounty. Twix, I think, could be bottom. I like a Twix, but not in small
get
form.
it up there, mate.
Twix needs to be big.
I don't like Twix that
No?
much either. I'm with you on that. They're fine.
Snickers would be set. I'm not a big nutty man. So.
Snickers, Mars, firmly in the middle. I don't think they split opinion too much. They're pretty good. They're pretty solid.
Galaxy Caramel got to be up there, probably.
Going to be in our top 3. Galaxy and Galaxy Caramel probably make my top 3 with a Malteser's Teaser. Bounty just outside it if I'm going top 3 to 4.
Milky Way in the conversation.
Middle again for
Milky
me.
Way second for me, actually. I love a Milky Way.
I like a plain Galaxy top, Milky Way second. I think the Malteser Teaser is overhyped.
Whoa.
It's just not as nice as an actual Malteser. And I feel let down by it.
I think they're nicer than a Malteser, I do.
Fight me. No,
by the middle ground. Let's meet in China.
I think there's too much chocolate to multi ratio in a teaser. But I don't know. Bounty's bottom. That's all I know for sure.
All right. Well, I don't agree, but I think the majority rules in this one. Gareth Dunning played in second gear today, almost cost us, but think you're now starting to see the benefits of Tinkerman. Fresh players with quality coming on. Lee Sanders, is Joel Bagan a Football Manager regen of Vicente Lizarazu? Tom, what do you make of that?
Oh, I did love Lizarazu.
Yeah.
I forget he exists every now and again, and then I get obsessed with him for about a week, and then forget again. But yeah, I don't think he's quite there yet, but there's still time.
Richard Endicott, Lewis Hamilton is from Stevenage. What is the fastest start for Cardiff you've ever seen live, Ryan?
I can't remember.
Tom, you had some opinions about this.
Well, I was saying I remember the Callum Robinson goal
against
last year
against Watford,
but
or whatever it was.
But I weren't there. And
I was, so I could count that.
There we go. You're in. I can't remember that many fast starts, and I'm guessing that's the point of the question. It feels like we don't score many early goals. It feels like we've conceded quite a few over the years, but I really don't remember any like super early ones for us. But I'm happy to be corrected.
Well, I can't either. I mean, one of the memories I remembered is us. I think it was against Peterborough. A goalkeeper got sent off after about 12 seconds, which almost beat Pressman's record of like 11 seconds or something ridiculous. That stands out because I don't really remember any early stuff happening in other games.
Ernie, maybe at one point, because he does stuff like that, like has records for hat-tricks and early goals. It feels like something Ernie would have done. But I can't put my finger on it, really.
The record is Trevor Ford, 15 seconds against Charlton in 1954.
Which we were all there for.
Yeah.
All there for. All saw it live.
All there for. That's before my dad was born.
That's 15 seconds is quick, mind, isn't it?
That is quick.
There's a joke about Ford car quick off the mark there, isn't there?
You find it, Ryan. I'll carry on with the tweets. Guy Richard says, team and man management was excellent again. Yes, some mistakes, but always learning. Great goals. Windle's range of passing is seriously impressive. So happy to see Isaak scoring a really good goal. Salech is a shagger. Sam Rees, Robertson, far superior to Turnbull. Bizarre that he's not starting. Matt CCFC, Yousef Salech is the best striker in the world. Harry Dickens, I really, really like seeing Kelly Munn get into tackles, winning at least 4.5 off the top of my head. Is he someone who should generally be starting in the centre of the pitch? Well, I think if Colwell's out, he is the natural successor. I think you can bring in people like Robertson and fill a hole in number 10, but Kellyman, as Ryan, you said earlier, is the most natural kind of alternative to Colwell, isn't he?
Yeah. He really is. He really is.
John TM
Chelsea game, isn't it? We're missing him and Capaccio and Cole Willis. Bit of a shame, really, isn't it?
Not looking good, Brev. John TM Williams, Willock and Kellyman blow hot and cold for me. Want more from them. The quicker we play, easier we make it. What's your sit-down meal on Christmas Day? Barbie for Tom. Tom, you having a barbecue on Christmas Day?
I don't think there'll be a barbecue, but I don't know. The Christmas dinners, I've been here for one so far. It was a little bit swanky for my liking. A lot of like sashimi stuff. No, I don't know. A lot of fish knocking about, which I enjoyed, but it didn't. There was turkey. It became later, but I'm just there for eating celebrations and a fuckload of pigs in blankets, really, like straight down the middle. But I don't know what to expect this year.
Ryan, what's your go-to on Christmas Day?
Meal deal.
Yeah.
Let me guess, you like it hot.
Just a bog standard 442 lunch, isn't it? Your pigs and blankets, your stuffings, your roast
Your
potatoes,
turkeys.
your meats. Not a big turkey head. I'd rather a bit of beef or a bit of chicken, but duck sometimes as well, like a duck.
Oh,
You didn't mention any veg then. And I can imagine you.
I mean, it goes without saying.
Your
roast
parsnips, your
parsnip,
carrots, your sprouts.
You don't know with Ryan March, the man who
That's
doesn't
true,
like hot
actually.
drinks. It could have gone either way. It could have.
I would if I could. Citizens arrest. For me, you're going straight down the middle with a turkey crown, usually than an actual turkey bird itself, and then we usually have a supplementary ham, something like that, a supplementary ham, and your classics. You your stuff in your pigs in blankets, and I love a cheese board as well. So I'll be having that afterwards.
In one of the most West Walian stories that I'll probably say is we used to get a turkey that was big enough for about 40 people because my sister used to make the teas for the blokes who were killing the turkeys on a farm. So I kind of miss those days, really. I don't really get that in Australia anymore. So
ship it over.
Maybe I'll have a word, but I'm not sure if
Good.
she's making teas this year. But yeah, I'll ask.
Ask her. Let us know. Rick Lewis said we could have and should have been home and dry by half-time. Yet again, we leave men unmarked on the edge of the box from corners, get punished for it. A great strike by Davies to make it 3-1 and a brilliant display from Salech. 2 goals and an assist and clearing one off the line. 3-2 few. Common Bluebird, can we please come up with a song for Isaak Davies? He's one of our own, probably covers half of the squad under BBM. Fair point. Rodri, who do you love more? This is a quick fire one for you, Ryan and Tom. I just want no thoughts on this, just quick answers. Who do you love more, BBM or Big Use? Ryan.
Who? Big Use?
Yeah, Yousef Salech.
Oh, right. I thought it was some sort of rapper then.
Right, you fucked it, right? Okay, coming back to you.
I can't
BBM.
decide between those. It was like Sophie's bloody choice, man.
All right, Tom, who are you deciding?
Salech.
All right, Ryan, back to you.
BBM.
Yeah, I'm going to go BBM as well. Very handsome, good with pizza. Baz T, we're starting to play to Salek's strengths and it's showing. Kellyman very good in the 10, both with and without the ball. Without getting carried away, I just get the impression that wherever we shift that second gear, we score. We only really struggle when we let the tempo drop. Oliver Reese, BBM sub spot on today. Somewhere out there, Omar Reza has shed a tear. If Mark Harris scores versus them lot today, this is an official petition to get the Mark Harris fan club back up and running. The Ben Price. He didn't score. Fan club remains dormant for another week. Yeah, Ben Price could be back to discuss that next week. Matt Bluebird, 27. First 20 minutes was some of the best football I've ever seen us play for years. Solid win again. Some of the passing and movement tore Huddersfield apart. Shame we switched off for the 2 goals, but top of the league and enjoyed every minute of that. Gaz, 3 excellent goals scored, 2 poor goals to concede. Wintle, Robertson got to be our best pivot in terms of on-the-ball quality. Barney, have any of you noticed that BBM leaves his box and goes to the tunnel for every corner, whether it's defending or attacking? A superstition, maybe. I haven't noticed that. Ryan, did you notice that in the ground yesterday?
Nope. I was sat on the other side. Don't know what he's doing over there.
Also, I suppose I'd ask the question, Barney, why are you watching BBM when we've got a corner? That's the question I'd ask there, because I don't think I look anywhere near that side of the pitch when we got a corner. GT the Bluebird, you guys were spot on about Bagan in your previous pod. He's been an unsung hero and should be credited as much as Salech, Trot, Capaccio, and Lawler. MJCCFC, Salech is 100% starting to get to grips with the nuances of this division of defenders. Typical, it's just as we head to Jan, but he's such a brilliant spark player for moments like Isaac's assist. Amy says, would love to see more of Robertson. Salech was cracking once again. Harry Dickens is back. Maybe have a drink, Harry. I think I'm in love with a man called Yousef Salech. Gareth Davis said, Cleggy, Foggy, Compo, Nora Batty, your boys took one hell of a beating. And David Charles says, Bagan, amazing in defence, in transition, and in attack, but we need cover for him. When we were good today, we were very good. Just got to put our chances away. Should have been out of sight by half-time, but we won, and that's all that matters. Oh, and Yousef, what more can you say? He's a star. We did have another question from Sam Hardwell, Bristolian Bluebird. But it was about Ben Price. Ben Price will be back next week. I think he is at a christening/wedding doubleheader this weekend. So he's a busy boy. Too busy for the pod. Let's look ahead briefly to the next couple of weeks, Tom. We're kind of in a weird hinterland at the moment where we've got games in hand on some teams. We're ahead of other teams. This league is all over the place. I think we're 2 ahead of Barnsley. Some teams are 3 ahead of Barnsley. Bradford played yesterday, which means we still have a game in hand over them. Stevenage have, I think, 2 games in hand, at least 1 game over us, and obviously we play them on Tuesday. We still have a game in hand on Lincoln, who we play later in the month. But we knew December was going to be busy. But it's, after winning yesterday, we've got Stevenage on Tuesday. We play Lincoln later in the month. It's a really becoming a bit of a defining month, isn't it, for us?
Yeah, you said game in hand so many times then.
I've lost track of what I was saying. It's fine.
Yeah, I think Stevenage have got a game in hand on us, and we've got lots over most of the other teams. But
yeah,
it does feel like if we win like 3 or 4 of the next like 5 games, then we are well set. But like it's such a big game against Stevenage in the week. I feel like that really it's a bit of a tone setter, right? They've been up the top of the league for most of the season, and I don't know, we beat them away from home. I think I'll start to believe a little bit more, because I'm still a little bit worried that we'll drop off. I don't think we'll drop off anywhere out of the playoffs or anything like that. But I don't know. I'm just trying not to get too carried away, even though I did predict us to win the league earlier in the season. I think, we win this game, and I think our fan base as a whole will really start to believe that it's the real deal.
Well, Ryan, we win on Tuesday. It puts us 4 points clear of Bradford and level on games with Bradford, which is obviously the key thing. It means that there's no games in hand. It means they can't overhaul us if they win any games in hand. It will put us 7 points ahead of Stevenage, who would still have a game in hand with us, which means we'll stay 4 points ahead of them if they win it. And it would put us 7 points ahead of Lincoln with a game in hand still on them. So you can start to see that if we win these games, Ryan, daylight starts opening up a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, and we've got to play them all in the next 6 months as well. So Stevenage we played before the end of the month at home. And then obviously Bradford's January, isn't it? And Lincoln is just before Christmas. So it's a huge month. And like I spoke about last time I was on, that like I think we've got through this international breaks, and I think we can just trundle here and like just get through these games and just keep winning and picking up loads of points. And we've started really well. 3 wins on the bounce: Northampton, Mansfield, and yesterday. And I can see us winning again next week against Doncaster. If we can take I'd probably take 4 points off Stevenage this month. I'd be more than happy with that. A draw and a win if in the 2 games against them. And then you've got Lincoln obviously before Christmas, and you've got Exeter on Boxing Day, who are not having a good season at all. That's got to be a earmark for 3 points. You've got Wickham on New Year's Day, which you got to think we can get 3 points. I can see a scenario where we win all of our games this month. I think we will probably drop points at some point, because just the nature of how many games, and someone will catch us out at some point, and that will be fine. It's all about how you bounce back, and every time we've lost a season, we've bounced back quite well. So, yeah, I'm hugely confident about where it's going, and it is a big month, and I think we'll know a lot more about who we are as a team and where we're going, and what the ceiling is this season. By the end of it, obviously you've got that fun of having Chelsea thrown in as well. So, yeah, I'm excited for the next few weeks, and I'm very positive about our chances.
Yeah, and we'll talk more about the Stevenage game in detail shortly. The Leyton Orient game now confirmed for the 10th of January, Tom, which is another kind of exciting game for early January, especially for me as it's around the corner. And we now have the top scorer in the division. Ryan mentioned it earlier on in the podcast, but Yousef is on 9 goals for the season in the league. You have to go back to Kiefer Moore, then before that, Jay Bothroyd, to find us with the leading scorer in the league, Tom. It's just another refreshing benefit of BBM, isn't it? That we now have a striker who is the focal point of this team and is leading the goal scoring charts. It just gives everything a nicer sheen.
Yeah, being top of the league and having top goal scorer does just give you a bit of a pep in his step, doesn't it? But it's weird because it feels like it's snuck up on us a little bit, because we have been moaning about him not putting chances away. Yeah. And that's quite exciting at the same time. It's like, oh yeah, he's leading the chart and there's more goals being left out there. And it does feel, I think we said this last pod as well, it does feel like he's started to turn a corner now. Like before, it felt like he had a lot of ball, put himself about and got very little kind of from it. Now it feels like he might be getting a little bit less ball, but doing more when he has it. And I think that's the exciting thing. I feel like he's a lot more efficient. He puts himself in positions, like more sensible positions, and we know where to find him. And yeah, in a busy month ahead, if he can get another 3 or 4 goals over the next 8 games, then we're going to be looking really, really good, because he's a top quality player. And he just seems to be getting better and better. Because we've got to remember, he's playing with a lot of new players this year, even if they have been around the squad. So it's been chopping and changing week on week. He's now getting used to playing with all of them. So I reckon like I really wouldn't be surprised come the end of the season if he's on 25.
Yeah, I just looking at the FOTMob stats. You can sponsor us if you want FOTMob. He's missed 16 big chances but scored 9. And obviously, big chances is a bit of a subjective term. But Ryan, that shows that there are still more goals for him to get in this division, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, that Mansfield game is a prime example. He probably could have scored 10 that day. So, yeah, he's going to just keep scoring goals. He's just one of those players, and we've been very lucky to have found him and signed him. And actually, he seems to be living up to his potential and more.
We've mentioned Omariza a few times. He did vouch and did push for the Salech signing, so let's give him some credit for Yousef Salech.
Yeah, but did he
but
actually? That's what he says.
That's what
Sounds
he's saying.
Like
he says a lot of shite, doesn't he?
I'm just putting it out there. We have to be relatively objective in things like this as well.
No, we don't.
You're a Reason mouthpiece, Ben. Just because he's from Hertfordshire and you live fairly close to Hertfordshire.
I've seen him at football matches this season. Exactly. We've both clocked eyes with each other, and there's been a moment of, oh, I know who you are. But nothing happened. Anyway, looking ahead to Stevenage, talking about Hertfordshire. Stevenage on Tuesday, Tom. What changes do you see making? Obviously, there were changes yesterday that probably nod to maybe Capaccio coming back in for Tuesday. Would Kellyman start? Maybe Robertson comes in. What do you expect the BBM to do?
I wouldn't be surprised if Ashford drops out after playing a couple of games in a row. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe Isaak Davies comes in. I think Willock might drop out as well. I think he run out a bit of steam by the second half against Huddersfield. Capaccio in. And I think Turnbull might come out, even though he did have a decent first half as well. I think Robertson will start, and I think this is the perfect time for him now to prove what he's worth and to show that quality, because we saw glimpses of it in that second half. I think we need to see him put like a 60, 70 minute performance in at least. So I think, this would be the perfect time for him.
Yeah, and Ryan, Stevenage, I think if we're being honest, when you look back at our predictions earlier in the season, we probably didn't anticipate that Stevenage would be up there, but they're having a great season. They've had a mixed bag of results recently, a few draws in there. If you look, I think they've drawn with Bradford, they've beaten Peterborough, they drew with Doncaster, they drew with Wigan. You kind of want to sit here and say there's going to be a time when they run out of steam, but it doesn't seem to be happening. They're still up there. Does that make you nervous for this game? We're going to be a big scalp for them. They're going to be up for it. They're going to be knowing that they could kind of cement their place up there. Or are you happy with the way we are, that we can just go there and be okay with that?
I'm confident enough in what we can do. It will be an interesting game because it is a small ground. It's a tight ground. I'm sure they're going to pack it out because it's a huge game for them. Obviously, this is a club this is new heights for Stevenage, isn't it? They've never been in this situation.
Well, they were close to dropping out the league during the COVID season.
Exactly,
and they removed relegations.
God bless Alex Ravel for the job.
Doing a great job.
Yeah, Superman. Absolute super bloke. Scored a great chip away at Brentford once. Chip lob, whatever it was, beautiful. Anyway, it's a real test of this team. I'd expect Capaccio to start, considering how late he came on yesterday, which does give us some really nice attacking impetus on the right. But yeah, I'm confident enough in what we can do that I'm not really worrying too much about the opposition and what they do at the moment, because we just seem to be strong and content. And, we haven't played too many teams around us this season and done particularly well, have we? Bradford springs to mind, Stockport springs to mind when we played them. Bolton is another one. So it will be a test. But it's not the end of the world if we don't get something. Like I said, I don't think we should panic. I think we've got more in the tank, and I think we'll be better for longer this season than Stevenage will. There'll be moments where they drop off more than we do. I don't think drop off completely, but I think they'll have weaker moments than we will across the course of the season.
Tom, what's your prediction? How are you feeling about this one?
I'm feeling pretty confident because they don't score many, and they don't concede many. But if anyone can score goals against anyone in this league, it's us. And I really think we're starting to click. I really do fancy us going into this game more than I have done against other teams. Like when we went to like Wimbledon away earlier in the season, stuff like that, I wasn't like completely confident. But for some reason, I don't know whether it's just because Stevenage still sounds like they should be bad and it's just bias from that, because they're clearly not a bad team. But I don't know. In the run of games we had, the performances we're starting to put in, I've got no fear going into this one.
But I think that's it, isn't it? I think the Wimbledon and Port Vale games were so early in the season that we were still unsure of BBM. We were still unsure of how the players would react in this division. Now we've got 17 games plus cup games plus everything else to show that this team are clicking and this team are good enough to do well in this division. I'm just looking at their defence is the meanest defence in the league. They've only conceded 11 goals, but they are one of the lowest scorers in the league with 19 goals. I think there's only a couple of teams lower scorers than them, and they're sort of all bottom four, bottom five. So, Ryan, it's going to be an interesting occasion at the Lamex on Tuesday. Tom's confident. How are you feeling?
I'd take a 0-0. I think I would take a point.
That's the pessimist in you shining through.
Yeah, absolutely. But when you go away to sides like this, sometimes it can be quite difficult to break down. But I'm confident. I think we can get all 3 points. But I would very much be happy with a draw. I don't think that would do us any harm.
I'd set us up lovely with a win. So I think this is, beating Huddersfield was the start of, I think, a productive Christmas period for us. And I think we're going to see the mettle of BBM's team shine through over the next few weeks. So I'm fairly confident we'll get a win on Tuesday. I like Stevenage. I'm excited to go. My second time.
We went together once, Ben.
We went together last season when we thought there's no way Cardiff are ever going to play Stevenage. Insert Bryn meme here. You never thought you'd see Cardiff playing at the Lamex. Here we go. Right, that's the podcast done. That's everything covered. Ryan, thanks for joining us. How did you enjoy a winning podcast for once?
Oh, it's so nice. It's so nice. And I still think you were robbed at the FSAs.
We were robbed at the FSAs. So were you, Ryan. So were you.
I agree.
Yeah, everyone was robbed, apart from the winners, of course. And fair play to the winners. Tom, Sunday night in Oz. Is it Sunday night in Oz? Yeah, time difference. I forget we're doing it in the morning.
Yeah.
What? Go straight to bed after this?
No, I've got to cover my furniture in sheeting because I'm getting my flooring done. So, yeah. Wait for an update next week. I know you'll all be very excited to see what's happened.
Tell the listeners what flooring's going down. Laminate?
We're actually buffing back the current flooring and changing the colour of it because it's more, cost efficient.
I'd love to hear an Australian handyman say they're buffing back your floor. I bet that's a lovely turn of phrase.
I will ask Bruce tomorrow. He's not
of course, he's called Bruce.
He's not called Bruce.
Bruce Buffer.
There we go. I might try and get a recording. Watch this space.
Thank you. Please do. We can insert that into the pod next week. Ryan, what are you doing with the rest of your Sunday?
Oh, what am I doing? It's absolutely miserable. I got some housework to do, but I'll try and find some time to have some fun.
Oh, that's the way to do it.
That sounds rogue, but
Same here, to be honest. I've got to do some tidying and then I've got to do some errands. And it's absolutely pissing down here as well. So thanks to everyone who joined us. Twitter.com/VFTNinian, KOFI.com/VFTNinian. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Head to TikTok, TikTok.com/VFTNinian. Go to VFTNinian.com. You can catch all the way to contact us there. We'll be back. Well, we might do a midweek one. If the Stevenage result is that good, we might see you in the week. If not, we'll definitely be back after the games next weekend. See you then.